Alright guys, welcome back. Alright, so today we're working on getting the AC system vacuum pumped and refilled. I know this looks kind of weird because I have the bumper kind of half off. I was originally not going to try to take the bumper completely off. I just took the grill off so I can get room in there so I can tighten down the bolts to the condenser because I have to replace that. This line up here was pretty badly bent, but I just took a torch, kind of heated up the piping and bent it back in shape, and then the bottom one was a little bit off too. That one just was a matter of tightening this down and it fit. I ended up not lifting the car up to do this, so it is possible to do this without having to lift the car up. You probably could do it without having to take the bumper off, but in my case, to replace the condenser and do all of this, I had to just remove the bumper to get a little bit more room. So I did that. It's kind of just laying there a little bit. I'm probably actually just gonna lift this up. I went ahead and went to AutoZone. I rented these gauges and the pump. So it's about 28 and a half, 29. So that's what you want to see. So to do this, refilling an AC system, in my case, it was already completely empty. If it's not empty, you want to go to a shop, or if you have a way to extract the existing refrigerant from the system into an approved container, which I don't know the specifics on how to do that, but mine was already empty, so it wasn't an issue for me. If you have an AC system that you have to disconnect something, let's say you remove the condenser, swap that out, or the compressor, or any of the lines, and your whole system's pretty much already empty, then in your case, you should be able to do this without having to go somewhere to purge the system of all the existing refrigerant. And then you're just gonna take, as I have here, you have the gauges, the pump, I have some bottles of refrigerant over there, and you have this tap valve. And that's pretty much all you're gonna need. You're gonna hook up. You have high pressure side here. So when you're attaching these, I start with the high pressure side. So you're gonna attach this one here on the high pressure side with the valve open. And this one's gonna be shut, which right now I have shut because I didn't want to pump running, but I didn't want to leave the lines open. So these are shut when you plug in the lines. You're gonna install high pressure here. And then over here, you're gonna have low pressure back there, which that one's a little tricky to get into. You might have to push the AC line a little bit more against the frame of the car to get the line on there to clip on. You wanna make sure it clips on perfectly, and then you're gonna tug on it just to make sure it's not coming off. Same with this one. Then you're gonna open these, or these are gonna be open when you install it. Then up here, before you open these valves, you wanna attach this to your pump. So the yellow line is gonna be to your vacuum pump. Once you've attached this, make sure these are hand tight. You turn on your pump. Once your pump's running, you're gonna open this valve and this, and then just open both of them. It's gonna get rid of all of the existing refrigerant, moisture, air, anything that was in the system when you had it open, so that way you can get it ready to go. So in my case, right there, it's reading, if I can see on the camera, it's reading about 29, so that's pretty good. And then what you want to do in this case, which I've already done, is as soon as it gets to that point, because it'll be about 0 before you start the pump and open these valves. And then once you open the valves, it should drop from 0 and then go down to about 30. Once it reaches about 30 and you wait a couple minutes for it to hit 30 or close to 30 as possible, you're gonna shut these, turn that pump off, wait about an hour, come back, make sure it's still about that same, make sure it hasn't changed from that. And that's how you know that you don't have any leaks in your system. Once you've done that and check, make sure your system has no leaks, you're gonna come back, do the exact same thing, except this time, you're gonna come here, you're gonna turn your pump on, open these valves as I'm doing now, and then you're gonna let this sit for about 45 minutes. You wanna make sure you get absolutely everything in. You wanna get all the moisture out, you want to let the refrigerant, all the air that's in there, you want to get all of that out before you end up filling it with new refrigerant. And you're also going to want to go in and figure out what the required amount of refrigerant to put into the system, which in my case, this is still the original from my car, which this says is 31 ounces, which isn't correct in my case because that was for that old engine. This one, they didn't have the guard here which tells me exactly how much to fill. So I had to go online and kind of figure out what it was, and it ended up being about 21 ounces for this system to fill it with. And then these bottles that I got, about 3 of them. I only really needed 2, but they each have about 12 ounces of refrigerant in it. So I'm gonna end up using almost 2 whole bottles. And what you want to do for that, so you get the exact amount of refrigerant in there, is you're going to take that bottle, and in my case, that first bottle, all of it's going to go in. And the second bottle, I'm going to weigh the bottle, which I did earlier. It's about 15.7 ounces, so it seems like the can itself weighs about 3.7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the bottle right where that box is. I have to lift it up a little bit for it to reach. But I'm going to lift the bottle up, and I'm going to set it on the scale, and I'm going to continuously do this and then watch the scale go down as I'm filling the system with the refrigerant. And I'm going to wait for it to drop to, well, say I have 12 ounces and you need 9 more, so I'm going to wait for it to drop 9 ounces. So once I see it read about 6.7 ounces, that should be approximately 21 ounces for the system, and then you'll be good to go. But then you want to make sure you're going to close these valves, close those valves before you disconnect anything, so that way you don't introduce air into the system. So I'm going to go ahead and let this sit for the next 45 minutes, and I'm going to come back, verify that this is still at about 30, and then we're going to go ahead and attach that nozzle to the can, and then disconnect that line. We're going to shut these valves, disconnect that line, attach the bottle. You're going to turn that valve on that this nozzle on the can clockwise until all the way down, and it should pierce the seal on the bottle. And then once you have attached the yellow line, you're going to turn it counterclockwise to open the valve, and all of that should fill the system. And I'm going to go ahead and show exactly how to do that once this time elapsed for purging the whole system's done, and then we're going to go from there. Alright, so it's been almost 45 minutes on that pump. Real quick, I have to still install the AC belt on there. The method I found online, it looks like that works best, is one where you're using these zip ties, and then you feed it onto the pulley for the compressor, and then you slide the belt partially over the top of that pulley, and then you're going to zip tie the top of it with the grooves in place, and then you're going to turn the crank using an 18mm bolt. I'm going to turn the crank slowly, making sure that the belt doesn't slip off of the pulley on the AC compressor, and then turn it slowly, and it's going to feed itself around. The zip ties are going to hold it in place, hopefully, and then once you do that, it should snap into place, and then you should be able to just cut the zip ties off, and that's how you will install it. So I'm going to go ahead and try to feed it on there and then see how well that works. Okay, so that really sucked. So I took the belt and I had it fed this side, so the ribs facing forward, and I fed it behind the pulley, and then slowly worked my way around the pulley, feeding it in. So from the top going down and around to the bottom. The bottom is going to be the hardest because I can't really tell what it is, but something underneath there looks like some electrical wiring. Maybe it's the casing or even the timing cover, but it prevents you from being able to slide it underneath easily, and the only way I was able to make it work is starting from the top and then working my way around. So the belt's going to be kind of looped around this way, and it's going to be towards the fan. Once you fed it as best as possible to get as close to the middle of the pulley as best you can, once you get enough slack, you want to try moving it over here, and then try to loop it around the AC compressor pulley. Once you wrap it on there, you want to grab that tightly, and then you want to pull the top portion of it out from between the pulley and the timing cover. And you want to try to line it up as best as possible on the grooves for the pulley, and then as kind of like I did earlier, you put zip ties on it, you're gonna crank it, you want to try to hold it as best as possible and keep it from moving, and hopefully it'll slip on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those zip ties, zip tie this belt on, hopefully on the grooves as best as possible, and then we'll go from there. Alright, got it on. So the issue I was having is it kept slipping off. Zip ties weren't tight enough. I think if I were to do it again, I use thicker zip ties that would hold down the belt against it, because it was holding the belt down, but the belt would slip off around this side. On this side, the belt will be slipping off because the zip tie was holding it down, but it wasn't holding it perfectly flat on the pulley, so it would walk off to behind it. So I added 3 zip ties on the same side. See them there? That way it held it down flat on that one section as it was working way around, and that worked. It snapped around in place. I'm gonna rotate it a few times just to make sure it's all perfectly grooved, and then also get these zip ties out of here and then put. So what I'm doing for this, for it to work a little bit easier, I did take the tensioner off, which I would probably recommend, but it's probably not necessary. But I do recommend taking the tensioner off so you have a lot more room to work with around here for getting the belt on. Alright, tensioner's back on, belt's back on, both of them ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the reservoir back in its spot and then put the intake tube back on. Over here, still holding at 30 inches mercury, fortunately. I think that's been off for half an hour now. I've been fighting this belt for the whole time, so I kind of stopped there, but it's still holding 30 pounds or 30 inches of mercury, so we should be good. So I'm gonna throw this all back on, and we're gonna go ahead and start filling it. You're gonna have to end up turning the car on, which is why I went ahead and put the belt on, because I was gonna need to turn the compressor on. So I'm gonna go ahead, throw all this back together, turn the car on, turn on the compressor, and then we're gonna throw the bottle on and go ahead and start filling it. All right, I got the car running, belts are on there good. You're probably not gonna see it, but it's spinning, it's good to go. Got everything back together the way it's supposed to. So I'm gonna go ahead, these are still shut, still about 30 inches of mercury. So on this side over here, the pump's been off. I just tightened this down on the bottle. So you're gonna go ahead, remove this line here. You're gonna attach it to your bottle. As such, and tight. Then you're gonna turn this valve clockwise. So you wanna make sure this is still shut. So this is shut and that's shut, so you should be good there. You're gonna turn this clockwise. You heard the little gas. It means it pierced the seal on the bottle. Then you want to slowly release this. This is currently full of air still, so you want to get ahead, come over here. You want to purge the line of all the air. So you're going to release or take this cap off, set it down somewhere safe. You want to take something. You want to go ahead, push down this until the air comes out, and until you see refrigerant come out. That should have purged all the air out of the system, so you should be able to slowly begin opening this. Alright, then you're going to come over here. You're going to turn your fan on, turn it on AC, put it on just on the lowest setting. You're going to want to check, see if the compressor is kicking on, which is not right now. Once you do that, you're gonna come over here, you're gonna slowly open this up. It's gonna start filling the system. You're gonna see the pressure gauge go up quite a bit, about to 40. And here in a bit, the compressor should kick on. It's sure to kick on right now, so it's filling the system. You're gonna wanna come over here, make sure it's spinning, which I don't know if you guys will be able to tell, but the compressor is in fact spinning. And you're gonna let it run until the bottle goes empty. And over here you're gonna notice the high pressure side is gonna be kind of oscillating. Be going up there and down, it's going down, so I probably need to open this a little bit more. If it feels like it's almost empty, turn it on the side, that way you can get more out of it. And you look over here, high pressure side slowly going up again. That's almost about 0. Alright, so after flipping the bottle up and down over and over again, I don't see any more refrigerant in that gauge glass, and it doesn't feel like there's any more weight on it. and it's not fluctuating when I do that. So at this point, I'm gonna shut this side, and I'm gonna go ahead, take this bottle off, and swap in the new one. All right, so I got my second bottle here on the scale. Break the seal on this one, purge it, and then I'm gonna go 9 more ounces. So once this reads 9.4, that's when I'm gonna close the blue valve and then go from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pierce this. All right, I'll just purge this real quick. Oh, come on. There you go. Purge the line there. So it's 18.4, so at 9.5. So we're gonna shut it. So we're gonna slowly open this. Just like so. Keeping an eye on the weight. First, it's gonna go up. Then you're gonna slowly open this until it caps out. Then you're gonna look over, it's starting to go down. So you wanna keep an eye on that. You can open this up a little bit more. Keeping an eye on your scale. And at that point, you should be able to open this all the way. Just make sure you keep looking at that. So once I see 9.5, I'm gonna shut this. So the more I open it, the quicker it goes down. Just be ready to shut it as soon as you see 9.5. Alright, so I was having an issue where it wasn't going down, and it's because the bottle's straight up, so all the liquid's on the bottom. But what I end up doing is whenever I hear the compressor kick on, grab the can, flip it over for about a second or two, put it back on the scale, and it takes about maybe 1/4 of an ounce. So I hear the compressor kick on, flip it over, set it back down. Flip it over, set it back down. And then just keep an eye on the weight. You don't want to accidentally overfill it. And then you're just going to keep doing that until you get to 9.5. Alright, so we got 9.4, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this. That's shut, this is shut. And that's about 9.5, so we're good there. Alright, so now it's filled. I'm going to come over here, and oh yeah, that feels pretty good. It's not even that full blast yet. Oh yeah. Oh man, that feels good. Definitely should have done this way earlier. Right, AC's refilled, good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect all that stuff, and we'll go ahead and go for a drive. All right, it's finished up. Double check, make sure both of these are shut. You gotta turn these counterclockwise to close them. Same thing with that one. Be careful. This area is really hot right now, so if you're doing this, you might want to wear gloves or just be really quick about it. Then you're going to go ahead and disconnect the lines. And then once you shut them off, starting with the high, then low, you're going to pop the high. Woo! That was quite a pop. And cap it off. Oh, jeez. Not sure why it popped like that. And then take your low side. I'm gonna set the camera down actually for this one. Alright, yeah, this connected the low side off. Now I can just move these gauges out of the way. Set that down gently. I'm gonna disconnect this later because I just wanna close this up. So put the caps back on too. Move this all out of the way. So I'm gonna go ahead, probably test the AC real quick, and then turn off the car, throw on all the trim back on. Oh yeah, that feels good. All right, let's put that full AC. Where is that? Max AC. And that feels good. That AC feels strong. New fan's also doing good. Engine temps are normal. Oh yeah, that's what I've been missing. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn the car off and then throw everything else back together, and then we should be good to go for a quick drive.